Hello, students. Welcome to the class. I'm Dr. Sonia Kaur Bansal, and today I will be teaching you about National Education Policy 2020. And subject is Contemporary India and Education. So, my learning objectives of today's class is to make you understand about the National Education Policy 2020, how it is formed, and what are the special features about it. I hope all of you will listen attentively and will grasp the concept of educational policy in 2020. So let's start, students. Introduction. First of all, India's first education policy was passed and implemented in 1986. After 34 years, the National Education Policy (NEP) for India has been updated, revised, approved on 29 July 2020. This is the important date, students. You must remember that on 29th July 2020, it came into existence. So, the policy signifies a huge milestone for India's education system, which will certainly make India an attractive destination for higher education worldwide. The policy is based on the pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability, and will transform India into a vibrant knowledge hub. So these are the basic pillars you must remember: access, equity, quality, affordability, accountability, and will transform India into a vibrant knowledge hub. National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes systematic and institutional improvements to regulation, governance, and promotion of multidisciplinary academics and research in Indian higher education institutions. So, this is about the introductory part of Indian education policy. And remember, students, first Indian education policy was passed and implemented in 1986, and after 34 years of gap, India has updated, revised, and approved a new education policy on 29 July 2020. So, National Education Policy emphasizes systematic and institutional improvements to regulation, governance, promotion of multidisciplinary academics, and research in Indian higher education institutes. Several aspects of the plan may create new opportunities for UK higher education institutions also. So, students, for example, changes to the basic education system will make Indian schools leavers, those who are leaving the schools, more prepared to directly enter a UK undergraduate program. A new nationwide academic credit system will simplify credit recognition, partnerships between UK and Indian universities, institutions ranked in the top 100 worldwide to open branch campuses in India. At the same time, there may be consultancy opportunities related to the quality focus of the new education policy. Now, students, we are going to discuss about challenges in the current higher education system which are prevailing in Indian education system. So, first of all, fragmented higher education ecosystem. This is the basic challenge of current higher education system. Poor learning outcomes and development of cognitive skills of students. Despite of planning for so many activities or so many extra things, there are no actually those fruitful results found in the field of higher education institutions. So this is really an alarming state for higher education institutions, and on basis of those, this was decided to do some revisions in new education policy. Rigid and inflexible separation of disciplines, for examples, an arts stream students cannot study any science related subject at higher education. And this is a major challenge. Our system is not flexible. So this has to be rectified. Lack of quality higher education in socio-economically challenged areas. Low teacher and institutional economy to innovate and excel. Inadequate career management and progression. For faculty institutional leaders, this is also a big challenge. And the lack of research funding across disciplines, suboptimal governance and leadership of higher education institutions, poor regulatory mechanism that inhibits growth of excellent and innovative higher education institutions. So, large number of affiliations to universities resulting in poor undergraduate performances. This is how challenges are becoming higher and higher in the field of education system. And it is really considered very challenging when we are talking about current education policy. That's why all the need was felt to do some changes. Now let's students see the key highlights of the national education policy. National education policy brings about a range of changes in the system of higher education, aiming to improve it with the goal of creation of greater opportunities for individual employment. The key highlights from the new education policy, which are really, I'm going to tell you, are the basic highlights that you must remember when you are studying about new national education policy. So first, it is creating an higher education system consisting large multidisciplinary universities and colleges with at least one in or near any district, and more higher education institutions across India, which offer their programs on local and Indian languages. So, shifting from a rigid higher education curriculum to multidisciplinary undergraduate education. And it is also offering faculty and institutional autonomy. The key highlight is also related to revamping the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and student support for enhanced students' experiences. Reaffirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership positions through merit appointments and career progression based on teaching, research, and service. So, establishing National Research Foundation to fund brightest peer-reviewed research to actively seed research in universities and colleges. The main highlight is also related to improved governance of higher education institutions by high qualified independent boards having academic and administrative autonomy. Light but tight regulation of a single regulator for higher education. This includes giving increased access, equity, and inclusion through a range of measures such as offering scholarship by private philanthropic universities for disadvantaged and underprivileged students. This is related to giving access to education to all learners, disadvantaged learners with special needs through online education and open distance learning system. So students understand this, that the goal of the national education policy is to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education to 50% by 2035 from 26.3% as of 2018. So it is a big challenge also. National education policy will replace the fragmented nature of India's existing higher education system and instead bringing together higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher education clusters, knowledge hubs. The policy states that over time, single stream higher education institutions will be phased out over time. So, for now, while the national education policy states that a system of granting graded autonomy based on accreditation will be adopted for colleges, eventually the aim is to transform them into an autonomous degree, granting college or a constituent college of a university. New and existing higher education institutions will evolve into three distinct categories. They are RUS, that is research universities, teaching universities, TUs, and then ACs, autonomous degree granting colleges. So, new existing higher education institutions will evolve into three distinct categories, which are RU, TU, and ACs. RU stands for research universities, TU stands for teaching universities, and AC stands for autonomous degree granting colleges. So these three categories will be evolving into higher education system. Now students, let's see systematic change, effective governance structure for higher education system, transforming the regulatory structure. How it is going to happen, let's see. So the new policy strives to create a fine balance, ensuring minimal government and maximum governance. Minimal government and maximum governance in the higher education system, and facilitating continued excellence in education and research. The Ministry of Human Resource will be called Ministry of Education. Now, MHRD will be changed into Ministry of Education. So, let's study key changes that the policy advocates around improving the governance standards in higher education institutions. So, first of all, for each higher education institutions, there will be a Board of Governors, BOG, consisting of highly qualified, competent, dedicated individuals with proven capabilities and commitment to the institutions. So, the BOG or the Board of Governors of which institution will be empowered to govern the institution fee of any political or external interference, make all the appointments, including that of head of the institution, and take all decisions regarding governance. So, BOG will be empowered to govern the institution free of any political or external interference. And BOG will be framed from highly qualified, competent, and dedicated individuals with proven capabilities and commitment to the institutions. So this is how that including the head of the institutions and take all decisions regarding governance. So these are the improving governance standards in higher education institutions. Now next is NHERA. NHERA, or National Higher Education Regulatory Authority. NHERA. Students, that will be set up to regulate in a light but tight. National Higher Education Regulatory Authority, that will be regulating light but tight and facilitative manner. It means that a few important matters like particularly financial integrity, good governance, and full online and offline public disclosure of all finances, procedures, faculty staff, courses, and educational outcomes will be very effectively regulated. while leaving the rest to the judgment of the higher education institutions, which is essential to institutional autonomy. So understand this, that these will be handling few important matters like particularly financial integrity, good governance, and full online and offline public disclosure of all finances, procedures, faculty staff courses, and educational outcomes. So will be very effectively regulated while leaving the rest to the judgment of the higher education institutions, which is very essential to institutional autonomy, innovation, and pursuit of excellence also. So light but tight, it should be seen in national education policies revised for. Now students, next is NAA, that is National Accreditation Authority. It will be tasked to provide accreditation to higher education institutions, and in the long run it will become a binary process in a line with global practice. So a new General Education Council, GEC, will be set up to frame expected learning outcomes for higher education programs, also referred to as graduate attributes. This is GEC, General Education Council. Remember the full form as well as the abbreviations of this, students. Now next is related to NHEQF, and this is National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF, and this will be formulated by the GEC. GEC, I told you, that was General Education Council, and will be in synchronization with the National Skills Qualification Framework, NSQF. Higher education qualifications leading to a degree, diploma, certificate will be described by the NHEQF in terms of such learning outcomes. In addition, the GEC will set up facilitative norms for issues such as credit transfer, equivalence, etc. through the NHEQF. So this will be done by NHQF. Now next is related to HEGC, Higher Education Grants Commission. So students, this will be created under the reforms of national education policy, and it will take care of funding and financing. Higher Education Grants Commission will be holding the financing of higher education based on transparent criteria, including the institutional development plans, IDPs, prepared by the institutions and the progress made in the implementation of the IDPs. So HEGC will be entrusted with disbursement of scholarships and on development funds for new focus areas and expanding quality program offerings in HEI across disciplines and fields. So this entity will work to fund and finance the higher education system, HEGC. Now students, next we are going to talk about professional standards setting bodies, PSSBS. So there are many professional councils such as ICAR, VCI, NCTE, and there are many more. So referred to as professional standard setting bodies will be invited to be member of the GEC as member general council. So as members of the GEC, they would specify the curriculum framework against which educational institutions will prepare their own curriculum. They will also set up the standards and expectations in focus fields of learning and practice while they have having no regulatory role. So students, just understand that professional standard setting bodies or PSSB will be inviting to the members of GEC, and they would specify curriculum framework. All right, students. Now, next is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC. I repeat, National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC. And it will be set to function as one single regulator for the higher education sector, including teacher education, but excluding medical and legal education. So this will function as one single regulator for the higher education sector. And it will also include teacher education, but this will not include medical and legal education. All right, students. Now, next is related to NETF, that is National Educational Technology Forum. So, mode of education to become more flexible. This is the basic feature of new education policy. And so, this would be created. Blended approach must be there. E-courses will be developed in 8 regional languages. This is the task of National Educational Technology Forum, NETF. And initially, the virtual labs will be developed. Now, students, next is NRF, National Research Foundation. This is also very important part. And this will be established to promote high quality research in higher education institutions. So, NRF will be soon set up, and it would work after funding, monitoring, and building quality of research in India. The NRF aims to fund researchers working across streams in India, in different streams. So, in order to bring non-science disciplines of research in its ambit, NRF will fund research projects across 4 major disciplines: sciences, technologies, social sciences, and arts and humanities. So, NRF will promote the quality of research work in India. So, this is very important to understand and keep it in your mind. Now, student, national education policies, student-centric approach. There are different approaches that we see many times. But what is national education policy's approach towards the student? So let's understand it very gradually and very minutely, how it will exist for them, how the students are going to get benefit from out of that. So for schools, as a students, first of all, we are taking this point. So for schools, the purpose is to make learning less stressful and more learner oriented. New subjects like coding will be introduced at an earlier level. Students are going to study coding also. From class 6, to modernize the syllabi as per the policy. The national education policy also envisaged exams for students from class 3 onwards. All students will take school examinations in grade 3, 5, and 8. There will be school examination which will be conducted by the appropriate authorities. Board exams for grades 10th and 12th will be continued, but redesigned with holistic development, as the aim of the policy is different now. So the policy states that the government of India will constitute a gender inclusion fund to build the nation's capacity to provide quality education for all girls as well as transgender students. A key highlight, students, of the new education policy is establishing a common guiding set of national professional standards for teachers, NPST, that will be developed by 2022 by the NCTE, National Council for Technical Education. So this is how, as a school student, national education policy is having student-centric approach. The new education policy sticks to the three-language formula, while emphasizing that no language would be imposed on anyone. So this is clear in this education policy that there will be no kind of compulsion for any student to study a particular language. So the policy document also lays emphasis on Sanskrit, which it called an important modern language mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Constitution of India. Sanskrit will be offered at all levels of schools and higher education as an important enriching option for students, including as an option in the three language formula. So board exams will be made easier as they will be test primarily core capacities and competencies. Stress will also be reduced to students and parents. The policy also suggests options to make exams stress-free. For instance, school boards could provide options to students whether they want to take a tough math exam or the comparatively easier version. All right, students. So this is about as a student-centric approach in new education policy. Now, this was a school for school student. Now let's understand about as a higher education student also. So the national education policy is more student-centric, giving flexibility to students to pursue their passion, at the same time enhancing their skills, enabling them to become more employable. It is actually completely focusing on enabling the students to become more employable in the particular field what they have chosen. So undergraduate degrees will be either a 3 or 4 year duration with multiple exit options within this period. So with appropriate certificates also for those dropping out at a certain point in the course. Earlier, if a student used to leave in the first year, then he was not getting anything. But now in this new education policy, it is planned to give some certifications if the student is leaving the course before the completing duration. So higher education institutions will also be able to offer master courses of different designs based on the undergraduate degree of the students. The new education policy replaces homogeneous format arts and science to concept of singular streams, art science called liberal education. So the notion of a physical campus or geographical location to dissolve, giving flexibility to students to study either in a national or an international institution. A multidisciplinary approach to implement an academic bank of credit, ABC, academic bank of credit, which will be able to digitally store academic credits earned from various recognized higher education institutions. And this will allow degrees from and higher education institutions to be awarded considering credits earned by the student. So this is somehow very interesting in this new education policy. Now, as a researcher, we are going to discuss, as a researcher, there is a lot of scope in new education policy. So National Research Foundation, NRF, is going to play a wonderful role in this, as I have already discussed about it. So a robust and responsive research ecosystem is needed in India to accelerate the pace of economic, social, and academic pursuits in India. So the NRF will be an institution specially set up to help channel systematic investment in research and innovation for India, which has been low 0.69% of GDP in comparison to the US 2.8%, China 2.1%, Israel 4.3%, and South Korea 4.2%. So this is how the investment in research and innovation in India has been very low. So NRF will promote a culture of research in Indian education ecosystem. And how it is going to do? Let's understand it also. First of all, funding competitive peer-reviewed grant proposals of all types and across all disciplines. Seeding, growing, and facilitating research at academic institutions, particularly at universities and colleges, where research is currently in a nascent stage. Through monitoring, through mentoring of such institutions. And also, NRF will promote a culture of research in Indian education system by acting as a liaison between researchers and government, as well as industry, so that research scholars are constantly made aware of the most urgent and current national research issues. It will also promote culture of research by ensuring policymakers are constantly made aware of the latest research breakthroughs. This would actually allow breakthroughs to be brought into policy and implementation in an optimal fashion. And this will really promote a culture of research in Indian education ecosystem. NRF will also recognize outstanding research progress achieved via NRF funding, mentoring across subjects through prizes and special seminars recognizing the work of the researchers. So this will work in a fantastic manner. Now, students, let's have a look on national education policy and teachers development. There is a lot more for teachers also. So now let's understand for teachers development. So this is about standing alone teacher education institutions will be converted into multidisciplinary institutions by 2030, offering 4-year integrated teacher preparation program. All fresh PhD entrants, irrespective of discipline, will be required to take credit-based courses. I repeat that all fresh PhD entrants, irrespective of any discipline, either you are arts, science, or commerce, will be required to take credit-based courses in teaching, education, pedagogy, writing related to their chosen PhD subject during their doctoral training period. So PhD students will also have a minimum number of hours of actual teaching experience gathered through teaching assistantship. So teaching experience gathered through teaching assistantship and other means. PhD programs at universities around the country will be reoriented for this purpose. A national mission for mentoring will be established with a large pool of outstanding senior retired faculty, including those with the ability to teach in Indian languages, to provide mentorship to university, colleges, and teachers. So this is what about teachers. Now, students, let's understand the main important key points of National Education Policy 2020. So what we have discussed till now, we have seen as an observant. Now let's sum up the National Education Policy in main points. So they are as following. So first of all, Early Childhood Care and Education, ECCE, will be established. Anganwadi centers will be strengthened with high quality infrastructures, play equipment, when well trained Anganwadi workers and teachers. The ECE training of the Anganwadi workers teachers will be mentored by the cluster resource centers of the school education department, who shall have to at least one monthly contact class with Anganwadi teachers for continuous assessment. Moreover, all school children shall undergo regular health checkups organized by the schools, and for this, health cards will be issued to all the students. So, this is early childhood care and education system. Open and distance learning (ODL) programs offered by the National Institute of Open Schooling (NIOS), National Institute of Open Schooling, will be expanded and strengthened for meeting and learning needs of young people in India who are not able to attend a physical school. Curriculum and pedagogy in schools. Learning should be holistic, integrated, inclusive, enjoyable, and engaging. So, this is how the curriculum would be framed in early childhood classes. So it should be holistic, integrated with other streams, inclusive, enjoyable, and engaging. The child should not get bored on it. Now, restructuring school curriculum and pedagogy in a new design, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So 3 years of preschool plus grade 1, 2. These are called foundational years. 3 plus first and second class, foundational years. Then preparatory years, grade 3 to 5. So third, fourth, and fifth classes. Then middle, 6th, 7th, 8th, again 3. And then now 4, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 formula is included in new design. So it is again bifurcated into foundational, preparatory, middle, and high schools. And 10th in the first, and 11th and 12th in the second stages. So grade 9th and 12th in first stage, grade 9th and 10th in first stage, 11th and 12th in second stage. Alright students, with an option of exiting at class 10th and re-entering in the next phase. So this is how school curriculum and pedagogy, and this is all restructured. Shift towards competency-based learning and education, not theory-based learning. Curriculum content will be reduced in each subject to its core essentials to make space for critical thinking and more holistic and discovery-based, discussion-based, analysis-based learning. Students will be given increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study, particularly in secondary school, including subjects in physical education, the arts, vocational crafts, etc. Now, there will be no hard separation among curricular, extracurricular, and co-curricular areas, among arts, humanities, and science, or between vocational or academic streams in the new education policy. Moreover, the medium of instruction until at least grade 5, but preferably till 8th and beyond, will be the home language, mother tongue, local language. So students whose medium of instruction is the local home language will begin to learn science and mathematics bilingually in grade 6, so that at the end of grade 9th, they can speak about science and other subjects, both in their home language as well as in foreign language, which is English language in our own country. Sanskrit will be offered at all levels of schools and higher education as an important enriching option for students. Sanskrit language has been given more importance in new education policy. Then concerted curricular and pedagogical initiatives, including the introduction of contemporary subjects such as artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic health, organic living, etc., at relevant stages will be undertaken to develop various important skills in students at all levels. Along with this, every student will take a 1 year long course during grade 6 to 8th that gives a survey and hands-on experience of a sampling of important vocational crafts such as carpentry, electricity work. These may be included in 1 year long courses like metal work, electric work, gardening, pottery making, etc., as decided by states and local communities and as mapped by local skilling needs, whatever is required in local area, that will be more in focus. Then students basic training in health, including preventing health, mental health, nutrition, personal, public hygiene, first aid will also be included in the curriculum. Concerted efforts will be made by NCERT, SCERT, schools and educators to significantly reduce the weight of school bags and textbooks that students are asked to carry to and from school on daily basis. These efforts are really appreciable if they are really implemented on ground level. And moreover, the primary purpose of assessment will indeed be for learning, and the entire schooling system continuously revise teaching learning processes to optimize learning and development of all the students. So this is really very essential in the revised National Education Policy 2020. The current nature of secondary school exams and the resulting coaching culture of today. This is doing much harm, especially at the secondary school level, replacing valuable time for true learning with excessive exam coaching and preparation. And all the students will be allowed to take board exams on up to 2 occasions during any given school year. One main examination and one for improvement. All students will take state school examination in grades 3, 5, 8 in addition to board. Examination in grade 10th and 12th. The National Assessment Center for School Education NACSE shall be standard setting body under the Ministry of Education. And along with this, the principle for university entrance exam will be also similar. The National Testing Agency NTA will work to offer high quality common aptitudes test. Students will be able to choose the subject that they are interested into in having tested, and each university will be able to see each student's individual subject portfolio and admit students into their programs based on individual interest and talents. So students, topic-centered and project-centered clubs and circles will be highly encouraged in National Education Policy 2020 and supported at the level of schools, school complexes, districts, and beyond. Examples like including science circles, math circles, music performing circles, chess circles, poetry circles, language circles, drama circles, debate circles, sports circles, and so on. And the major reform in teacher training program is also done. 4-year integrated B.Ed programs will be introduced. Teacher eligibility test TET will be strengthened now for subject teachers. Suitable TET or NTA test scores in the corresponding subjects will also be taken into account for recruitment. There will be more and more given choices, preferences. To promote local knowledge and expertise, school complexes will be encouraged and indeed will be supported with suitable resources to hire local eminent persons or experts as specialized instructors in various subjects such as in traditional local arts, vocational crafts, entrepreneurship, agriculture, or any other subject where local expertise exists and would benefit students and help preserve and promote local knowledge. Teachers will be also given more autonomy in choosing finer aspects of pedagogy. So by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. This is the target of new education policy. Then establishment of National Research Foundation to fund outstanding peer-reviewed research and to actively seed research in universities and colleges is must in new education policy. The main thrust of this policy in higher education is to end the fragmentation of higher education by transforming higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher education institutions clusters, and each of which will aim to have 3,000 or more than students. So it is envisions that over a period of time, all existing higher education institutions, new higher education institutions will evolve into research intensive universities, RUs, TUs, and ACs, which I have told you just now. All type of institution will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs, provided they are specifically accredited to do so to enhance their offerings. Phasing out the system of affiliated college over a period of 15 years, by 2025, the maximum number of colleges that can be affiliated by a university shall not exceed up to the number of 300. Okay, students, so remember this. Undergraduate degree will be either 3 or 4 duration. And higher education institutions will have the flexibility to offer different designs of master programs. They may be 2-year programs with the second year devoted entirely to research, who have completed the 3 bachelor programs, and many more about it. Model public universities for holistic education at par with IITs, IIMs, etc., called MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research universities, will also be set up and will aim to reach the global status. High-performing Indian universities will be encouraged now in new education policy era to set up campuses in other countries, and similarly selected universities, those from among the top 100 universities in the world, will be permitted to operate in India. So this is a kind of liberalization in new education policy. Opportunities for PhD students to assist faculty as teaching assistants must be created as a part of all PhD programs. Then using technology platforms such as Swim, Diksha, these are very important platforms, students. And we really can't actually survive without these. And they are really very important. So Swim, Diksha, they are such type of courses that are very important. So again, I'm coming to this point that they will be used as Swayam Diksha for online training for teachers shall be encouraged, so that the standardized training programs can be administered to large number of teachers within a short span of time. Then vocational education will also be integrated into all educational institutions in a phased manner over the next decade. Focus areas will be chosen based on skills gap analysis, whatever is required locally, and mapping of local opportunities, and technical and vocational education will become part of the larger vision of the holistic education. An autonomous body, the National Educational Alliance for Technology, NEET, will be created to provide a platform for use of technology to enhance learning assessment, planning, administration, and so on, both for school and higher education. The aim of NEET will be to provide on a single portal various educational technology solutions that are tested for their robustness for improving their learning experiences, with special focus on the need of the students with disabilities. So this is a wonderful improvement also. And moreover, a rich variety of educational software will be also developed and made available for students and teachers at all levels. Teaching learning content will be continued to be developed by all states in all regions languages, as well as by the NCERT, including CIET, CBSE, NIOS, and other bodies, institutions, and will be uploaded onto National Teachers Portal. Now, students, let's have some MCQs and deal with them, which I have framed for you. First question is related to who was the chairman of National Education Policy 2020 Drafting Committee. So the correct answer from A, B, C, D option. First is Kailasava Divosivan, Dr. K. Kasturi Ranjan, C. Professor Yashpal Sharma, and D. Professor G. Rajagopal. So correct answer is Dr. K. Kasturi Ranjan. Second question, when the Union Cabinet did approve the new National Education Policy 2020? 29th June 2020, 29th July 2020, 29th August 2020, 29th January 2020. Yes, I have told you the correct answer, 29th July 2020. Education is dash for achieving full human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and promoting national development. So, is it constitutional, legitimate, fundamental, authentic? So, it is fundamental. Next is when India did adopt Goal 4 SDG 4 of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. 2020, 2015, 2030, 2025. So it adopted 2015. National Education Policy 2020 aimed to achieve equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners regardless of social or economic background. This target will be achieved according to the new education policy up to the year 2020, 2015, 2030, 2040. Yes, the correct answer is 2040. National Education Policy 2020 lays particular emphasis on the development of the best infrastructure in the world, the provision to give 100% employment, the provision to give free education, the creative potential of each individual. This is the correct answer, D, option D. So students, these are some references for your more study purpose, and I hope you will enjoy reading them. Thank you so much, students, for your patient listening, and I hope you have grasped the meaning of new education policy. You have understood the nutshell points, what is a new education policy. So this is really very amazing that some of the points are going to be implemented in new education system. So understand it more, keep revising your points. See you in the next class, students. Till then, have a safe learning and keep healthy and happy. Thank you, students.